Hi, this is Jennifer Wegeman with Making Connections 101, Virtual Edition. Hope you're doing well and that you're up for learning a few new things for your job search to help you accomplish your goals and finding the next right position for you. So what we're going to talk about today is going to help you in learning to make connections. Most people don't like the word networking for some reason. So what we're going to do is take a little different slant on that and call it making connections. In this workshop, we're going to learn about how do you uncover the names and contacts using LinkedIn and maybe other resources to discover some new strategies for networking and making those important inside contacts at the employer of your choice. We're also going to talk about how to use databases to find information, research businesses, find people at those businesses, and hopefully find yourself a job that would be a good fit for you at the target companies that you want to work at. And these target company lists, that is going to be your roadmap for you to really pursue jobs that are a really good fit for you at the companies that are also a good fit. Some people want to work at smaller companies, some at larger companies, but we want to look at how you can be strategic and become known inside those companies. So let's get started. Where are you guys working on your job search now? Are you sitting there waiting for somebody to find you a job? Are you hoping that some recruiter is going to do the magic introductions for you and put you in front of the right employers? Maybe you're just applying online and that's all you're doing. So again, you have to start thinking about maybe taking a lot of different activities and pulling those all together to create a really strategic plan for yourself. But know that looking for a job is work. You're going to have to take an active approach and not be passive. A lot of people are very reactive in their job search and tell me that they can't find a job, nobody's interviewing them, there's no jobs out there for them, I don't have the right experience, I don't have the right background or credentials. But guess what? There are people that are getting jobs and we talk to them every day. And we know that there are jobs out there and that there are lots of companies that have open positions. So applying online, if that's all you're doing, that's going to be the slowest way to find a job. But we're going to show you some different strategies so that you can make that job search a lot faster. So what you want to think about when you're researching companies is what information are you looking for? Is it products, services, the type of customers? Maybe you're looking for specific people, titles. Maybe it's location. Maybe you're relocating to a whole different area, whatever that might be. There are ways to research out of town locations as well as local. There could be a financial profile that you're desiring as far as an employer or a company that you'd like to work with. There might be different types of companies, sizes of companies, their mission. Again, there might be competitors that you know of in your industry and maybe some of their affiliated businesses. Whatever it is you're looking for, there's some definitely overarching themes, and we can help you find out more about those companies and possibly lead you to new companies that you didn't even know about. So where do you look for company information? A lot of times, the first place you're going to go is to your local library. There are many resources at your local library, and I would encourage you to obtain a library card if you don't already have one. Maybe dust off the one you have. Many of the services that they offer can be accessed online. Just go to your library website and look through all the offerings and the different products and subscriptions that they have. And typically they have employer databases such as A to Z databases and Reference USA. Those are basically housing all the same information, and they're very similar formats. They're just two different companies that do pretty much the same thing, and each library can choose to subscribe to whatever databases they want to offer to their patrons. We do have A to Z databases available at WorkNet DuPage Career Center. When the office is open, you can access it through attending our resource room by checking in at the front desk. We do have that available as one of our many services. The other types of databases that you may want to check out are through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. They have registrations of all licensed businesses, state, LLCs. You may want to review background information on companies. There's lots of things that you can see there. On the internet, you can also go to google.com and check out a lot of stuff. You can be very specific in your searches if you learn some search methods. And then business websites such as chicagobusiness.com and bizjournals.com, those are very helpful as well to research companies and find possibly new ones. So sometimes your strategies are going to include keywords to find different types of companies. And sometimes you don't know the name of the company, but you're looking for something based on some other criteria. So hopefully one of the things that you can do is start to build your target list of companies. And these are just some different types of ways to find organizations that might be a fit for what you're looking for. One of the best things to do is also look up past companies that you've worked for, and you can find out more about them, and we'll get into different ways to research knowing at least one of the companies that you've worked for in the past if you want to continue in that direction. But basically, if you want to start where you live, then you're going to avoid a lot of driving time. The gas prices can fluctuate, traffic can, improve or get worse depending on where you're going. There's construction. We don't always like to have a long commute. If you enjoy driving, then you can open up your job search to many, many miles away, but a lot of us would prefer to be closer to home. So that's where you can start. In a lot of the databases, you can put a limit on the distance, a radius, or a job search area that you want to focus in on. So with A to Z databases, they have a lot of businesses, over 30 million businesses in their database, and lots of information on executives and residents. There's ways to use this for sales in case you ever get into that kind of thing. There are multiple ways, and you can always talk to your reference librarian if you have other ideas on how you might want to use this information. Additionally, whether you're using A to Z or Reference USA, they usually have some instructional, self-directed learning and instructional videos that you can watch, and I highly recommend that you take a few minutes to just peruse those to see how do you do basic functions in that product. Again, if you have access to your library, you may be able to contact someone there that's familiar with the database if you run into a question. Most of them are very user-friendly and appeal to a broad audience of people that might be using their products, so they have done a pretty good job, and you should have no trouble once you get the hang of it. Additionally, they usually have some training available, live training through webinars. And as all of us are getting more and more familiar with remote learning, you may find that that might be helpful as well. So when you think about using these databases, there's some really great features to help job seekers. And one of the main ideas that you want to take away from looking at these profiles is that every company profile has similar information. So once you find some companies that are in your wheelhouse, you'll be able to find more just like them. So there's business profiles. They have usually a list of new businesses that have been added to the database. Often both actually Reference USA and A to Z databases have Indeed as a plugin. So there's a job search board right inside each of the profiles showing some of the jobs that might be available at that company. Again, we always recommend that you go directly to the company website to apply, or contact someone at that company and then go ahead and apply once you've gotten a referral in, or as soon as you have applied, make sure that somebody on the inside of the company can flag your ATS or applicant tracking system resume and application inside their system so that they can actually physically, as a human, take a look at it. If you just apply to a bunch of jobs, even after you review the profiles, that's kind of defeating the purpose of why we're doing this workshop. Is we want you to be able to get those inside contacts by your research so that you can actually have a better chance at getting at least a human to look at your resume, look at your application, be called for an interview, and hopefully get the job. So we're going to talk about how to research a company, and that can be very helpful because there might be some things that you can do in addition to using these databases. For looking for new companies, you may want to research companies that you already know about. So we've talked about A to Z databases and Reference USA. Your library and reference librarians are very helpful in your job search. There's other places that you can check out companies, especially in different industries. Fortune, Fast Company, Inc. magazine, Cranes, Business Ledger in the Chicago area, major newspapers, and news websites. So the printed directories are pretty old school. There are service and manufacturing directories that list a lot of the information that is available online, but again, those were, at one time correct, but any corrections would have to be printed in the next year's edition. So there is some possibly errors in those kinds of directories. You also want to think about professional organizations and associations that you may belong to or have access to in your industry. If you have contacts at those, usually you have a way to access the member lists and you can reach out to people that may be helpful in your job search. Company websites, obviously, they may have a whole bunch of information on the website, but sometimes you want to drill down a little deeper to learn more about the company to really showcase your research when you get an opportunity to interview. So when you research a company, there's lots of different places you can check, and some of this overlaps. You want to again use these databases to search in industries and companies that you are familiar with, or find other companies that you didn't know about. You can identify employers, maybe your dream employers. Research some of them. Employers that you have contacts with. Employers that are currently hiring. Trending employers. There are a lot of companies, no matter what the situation going on in the world, there are companies that are hiring. There are always people moving, relocating, passing on. There's going to be need to fill jobs for whatever reason at any given time, and don't always believe the headlines, because there are always needs for opportunities jobs to be filled to accommodate those opportunities. So Google, everybody's familiar with that. They have company websites that they can direct you to. News, Google News, you can follow different organizations. You can set up Google Alerts or Google Trends, and I'll show you an example of that on the next slide. You can also use LinkedIn. Every company typically has their own company page, and they show how many people they have on LinkedIn that work at that organization, and you can look through a whole listing of people that are currently employed at that company. LinkedIn has 700 plus million people. That's a lot of people that you could potentially connect with. They also have a lot of jobs, a lot of great resources. We'll talk further about that. And I encourage you to also watch Polish Your Profile. It's a workshop that should also be available to you via the WorkNet 2-page website. Facebook, there's a lot of companies that are on Facebook. There might be professional and social connections that you can reach out to, friends of friends. So there's lots of ways that you can find possibly connections to learn about opportunities inside the company or help you get a little advantage in the hiring process. Twitter is another great example of following keywords and hashtags to find people in your industry, keywords that are important to you and the people that you work with or would be working with. And there are many thought leaders that actually are on Twitter, and you can follow them, make comments directly, post and share, on all of these sites. So I think sometimes you realize that you're not that far away from a really great connection. So when you set up Google Trends, all you need is a email address, and you just need to go to trends.google.com, and then you can start looking at how you can set up some subscriptions. So what this does is, if you have, for example, let's say you want to make sure that anytime your name comes up on any kind of news outlet, company information, wherever it might be coming from, if you put your name in there and you set up an alert, this will help you find out what's being said about you, no matter where it is. It could be worldwide, it could be United States, but you can set that up and you can do daily, as it happens, or once a week digests of any time that these terms come up. The other thing you can do is you can set up a specific company alert, Culver's. So let's say you want to find out what's happening with their company. You want to follow them, but you don't have time to scan thousands and thousands of news outlets. Well, guess what? Let the computers do the work for you by setting up this Google alert. It'll take you about 30 seconds. So once you have these topics, they'll start being delivered to your email box. You can always refine the wording or the topic. You can delete them at any time if you're getting too many, or if you're not getting enough information, maybe you need to adjust your search terms. There could be topics, industry information that you may want to track. So, think about different ways. You might want to spell it out. You may want to use the acronym. I've done that here with Applicant Tracking System, or ATS. So anytime either of those terms come up, hopefully I'm going to get some kind of information about where that was printed and learn more about that topic. So let's say you do come across an article. It could be a paper newspaper, if anybody's still reading those. It could be online, Could be wherever. Somebody passes it along to you. But you want to use these pieces of information to help your job search. So with this one particular article, they talk about the name of the person, the location, there's contact information, there's the name of the company, who they're going to be hiring, the growth, company focus, objective. So this could be possibly helpful for a job search. It could be helpful for research if you know you're going to be at a job fair and this company will be there, for making connections. Even if you don't contact the person in the article, it may, upon further search, lead you to other people in the organization that might be in the better area or department that you want to work in. So again, you just have to use this information and be sort of investigative to give yourself that leg up and get that opportunity to talk to somebody inside the organization, and be more prepared when you do get an opportunity to interview or connect with somebody inside, because they will appreciate that you spent this time and have learned about their company. So first thing, you may want to just do a quick Google search. Next thing is you could go to one of these databases through your online or in-person visits to a library or to some place like our office. A to Z databases, it's free at libraries, it's free at our office to use. And then when you search on the company, it's going to pull up a couple options for you in the search results, and you want to click on the company so that you can see a more detailed profile. Sometimes you're going to find that there's different aspects to the company that you didn't know about. They might have different divisions, they might have different locations. So again, more information for you to sound like you know what you're talking about when you get an opportunity to speak with someone inside the company. With the profile, you're going to have some quick links, and then you're also going to have a way to not only review all the pieces of these profiles, but you can also, for the information that you really are interested in, but you can also download these to a thumb drive. You can print, you can email the contents of the profile to yourself, you can download it into an Excel spreadsheet, a comma delimited file, you know, any which way that you want to capture this information. Maybe you're keeping track of the companies that you're working with. You can go ahead and save that information for review later. So there's examples of these codes that you may want to think about. These standard industry classification codes are something that the government uses to classify businesses. I don't know if it's part of their tax reporting or their annual reports, but every company has specific codes that they identify with as part of their natural way of doing business. They have to select certain codes to affiliate with so that they can be recognized in those areas. Now, this was for a not-for-profit organization. And as you can see, they are kind of saying the same thing. On the left is the SIC codes. On the right are the NAICS codes. And again, these are just longer number codes for whatever reason. There's two different codes that are being used in North America, and SIC codes are basically industry codes with very specific areas. The first few numbers usually have something to do generally, and then there's a specific couple of numbers at the end. And you can search for these codes within these databases, but my recommendation is to look up one company that you do know about, look at the SIC codes or NAICS codes that that company has listed in their profile, and then cut and paste those over into a notepad document, a Word document, write them down, because you're probably going to want to search through the database for more companies like this. And that's where these codes come in handy. So you could take that nonprofit organization's code 8399-039, and you could search for more nonprofit agencies that are in the database. And then you might find organizations that you didn't know about, and you may say, wow, you know, I forgot all about this organization, or hey, this really looks like a good fit for me. Let me do some further research. The other pieces of information that might be helpful are there's definitely revenue trends, company profiles on their year-over-year revenue, if they are a public company, and even if they're not, a lot of information is pulled into these databases, and they are contacting on a regular basis every company so that they can update. And again, these are year over year. Sometimes you'll see a slight delay because of the annual reports are not produced until the following year. But you'll see employee trends. Are they hiring? Are they not hiring? What's going on? And again, this can give you more insight into whether you want to pursue working with these companies. They also list competitors, nearby businesses, a lot of other information that hopefully can give you a bigger picture on, you know, what the status is on this company. The main thing that's going to be really helpful that you want to look at is the executive directory or contacts. Often they do have emails. They will give you information on their title or department area. So let's say you're looking for something in finance or IT. You may be able to find some contacts right in that department. Now, if not, and they may only have a couple names listed, you still can take one of the names and go and search on that name in LinkedIn and see who else is connected to that person. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. The company also typically will have a website, as we mentioned. Really look at that. You can look at the media center or news releases to find out about new, you know, things that they're doing. So you're researching with maybe coming up with questions that you can ask in the interview or showcase your knowledge about the company by doing your diligent research on what they're offering, other aspects of the company outside of the area that you might be interested in, because many organizations really are excited when people can showcase that they've spent time and are excited about the company's products or services. If you come in and you say, well, I don't know what you people do here, but I sure would like a job, that's not going to go over as well as someone who's done their research, understands the company, the business, their mission. So the LinkedIn company page is really helpful, and you'll often see jobs posted within their news feed. You can follow the company, and that's a good thing to do because LinkedIn recognizes through the research that the recruiters are doing to find people. They pay for a specific recruiting tool, and hiring managers inside a company and external recruiters as well will search for people, and they can see if the person is engaged with their brand, that company, they are going to contact probably those people a lot more. They'll put them at the top of the list rather than just anybody. So if you follow companies that you're interested in, it is going to help you when you are found by recruiters through the research that they're doing within LinkedIn. You can also see how many connections you might have and number of employees that are on LinkedIn, and you can certainly take a look at those people as well and possibly reach out to them. People are usually very friendly. Sometimes it's hard to get a recommendation or an introduction from another person. You don't have to wait for that. You can reach out to people directly. Most people have had to look for a job. You're not bothering anybody. You want to be careful, obviously, and prepared when you do make those inside connections. So I would, do your research, understand the positions available that you might be a fit for, and then reach out. We have a lot of templates, a lot of great things that you can recycle and use in your job search. So, you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to reaching out to these contacts. So when you do pull up a contact at a specific company, you will see that you may have one connection or you may have many connections. I would go with the people that you have the most connections with. And then you can also see other people that have been viewed on the right-hand side of LinkedIn. That may also lead you to some other ideas of who you can contact and reach out to. So LinkedIn, again, will let you know the first connections are the people that you have connected with directly. The second connections are people that you know that know those people. And anything beyond a third connection would be friends of friends of friends, or people that you know that know other people that know those people. So again, the more numbers, the more distant the connection. You really want to focus on probably the first and second level connections. So these are just some fun facts to look at when you're thinking about your job search with LinkedIn and Facebook. Facebook is useful in a job search. LinkedIn is more of a professional network. While LinkedIn can be useful, you may also want to consider Facebook. Facebook, you can do friend of a friend who works at and plug in a company name. I did try this with Google. I didn't know anybody that worked at Google, so I said friend of a friend who works at Google, and I plugged it into the search bar. On Facebook, I came back with that search with a bunch of people that I know that know people that work at Google. So there's a way to get inside the company. You just have to be creative, and you sometimes have to think out of the box on how you can reach out to people. And maybe in a more social platform, you might have better luck reaching out to people that perhaps you know through personal connections. LinkedIn is a professional network, and most people are very happy to help each other if they're available and they can. Not everybody is available at all times. Some people are on vacation. Some people are off on sick leave. Some people aren't getting messages from inside LinkedIn if they don't come into LinkedIn to see the messages. So don't take it personally. A lot of people are able to respond, but maybe they're busy. You don't want to stalk people and harass people. That is not a useful thing in your job search. With these two different platforms, I think you have at least 2 billion or more connections that you could possibly make. So I think we've got lots of people to talk to. If you feel like you've exhausted your network, I wouldn't worry about it. There's always somebody new to talk to. And informational interviews are another great way for you to actually make connections with people and ask for leads. You're not asking for a job whenever you reach out to somebody. Nobody can help you get a job. What they can help you with is information, some other contacts, inside information on how they achieved what they're doing in their current role. And sometimes that leads to great discussions and building relationships, which is always important in your job search. And when you are networking, you want to always continually be networking, because guess what? We're all going to be in job search more than once, and it's going to be where you're going to find contacts and connections to help you is when you're going to have success in your job search. So one of the things that you can do after watching this, hopefully you've learned some good tips, things that will help you. But I want you to take the next challenge, the Jobseeker challenge, and identify up to 50 or more potential employers. This would be your target list. This would be companies that you really want to work at, that would be a good fit for what you're doing, where you're going, the career you have, and where you see yourself going in the future. Research the companies. Before you start blasting out resumes and applying online, a million different jobs that have been posted for months on end, really network, figure out where you want to work. Even if they don't have a job posted, you may want to refer yourself in and pass your resume along. You'll also have a better chance of people reading your resume when there's an inside referral. Often there are referral bonuses for companies to pay their employees to refer qualified people in. They don't have to pay recruiters. If they can pay a referral bonus, that's usually much more affordable. If they have to go out and get recruiters, they're going to have to pay a commission when that person lands and after they've been there, depending on the contract. That can be up to sometimes 25 to 40% of the salary. You don't have to pay that out of your salary, but it is an added cost. So of course, they would like people to just self-refer. That would help the company out. And they may take a harder look at you if you show initiative and reach out to the company with an excellent cover letter and a friendly tone and attitude and no typos on your resume or cover letter. Sorry, had to throw that in there. All right, the next thing you want to do is once you've identified the companies, you want to start researching them on either A to Z, Reference USA, Facebook, LinkedIn, other social media. It really depends on the company and industry you're in, what kind of channels they're using, and you want to be familiar with the channels that make sense for that type of organization. That's part of your research. But why don't you, after you've made those target companies, your list, start setting goals. So maybe you take a week, research the companies that you want to look at, get 25 or 50, and then identify those contacts, and then the following week, every day, have a goal. Is it 5 people a day, 10 people a day? How fast do you want to get a job? Everybody has different timelines and different ideas for success, but set a goal that makes sense for you and track your progress. Monday through Friday, you get gold stars if you work on the weekends, but you have to take breaks too. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you don't want to get burned out on job search before you even get any interviews or you get started on, making connections. So it is work, but make an adventure out of it. You never know where you're going to land. I've had many job seekers who all of a sudden, after a few rejections, they get a great job doing exactly what they want to do, and they've learned a lot about themselves in the process. And I think that can happen for you. So we always like free when we're in job search, and here are some options for you to just quickly get started if you haven't any experience in some of these social platforms. You can easily get up to speed using these links. Your local library often has workshops and information about how to use different types of social media. The College of DuPage may be another place for you to check out their career library area. They also have wonderful reference librarians that I highly recommend you get to know. They have more information on their website, and you may be able to access some of their databases, which are more industry, in-depth resources because they are a college university. You may also have access through alumni benefits through your current alumni status with your past university or college that you've attended. So check that out as another resource if you are looking for further information and more databases or industry resources. We do have recorded workshops, videos, virtual live events, and in-person events at WorkNet DuPage Career Center. See our website, worknetdupage.org, and you'll be able to tap into those as well. There's a LinkedIn Learning Center, Facebook Getting Started page, Twitter Getting Started, and Google Help so that you can learn more about all the Google products that are available to you. I hope this has been helpful and informative. We want to make all the connections we can, and I hope that this will get you started on finding your next perfect job.